EU Masters Finals, where we just saw BTXL take a game off Karmine Corp. I'm Medic, this is Trouble. I'm going to bring you the action for Game 2. Yeah.
We had some time. We had some time to breathe because that was an absolute banger of a game, honestly.
Yeah.
We weren't expecting this. K-Corp were playing the absolute K-Corp draft, the 1-3-1, that we're going to skill check it, that we're going to kill you 1v1, bleed it throughout the map. They did bleed it. One mistake, though, for a textbook front-to-back team is all it takes to grab some shutdowns from your opponents and come back into the game. And BTXL managed to find that small mistake from K-Corp. They punished and turned it around. And who comes back from a 10k goal deficit?
It was...
Why is this G2?
It was truly surprising. I was shocked that BTXL were able to do it, but perhaps showing a little bit more of their veterancy in playing later game comps. Let's get into the draft, though. Once again, K-Corp on the red side, they will have chosen that as the losers from game 1. And once again, it's Seraphine and Kai'Sa banned out alongside that Ryze.
And I was worried when I saw Cinkrof take the Hecarim away from the Markoon, and I'm like, okay, so they do value the Jinx that much when Deadly can literally carry on every single ADC there is out there, and Deadly just shut me up completely. He was like, this is what I can do. I can 1v5 actually the Jinx. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another first pick from the Jinx. And honestly, the previous game could have gone to Karmine Corp's side very easily had they not misstepped at that point. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them run back both compositions.
Honestly, if we get a salty run back this game, I would not be surprised. Right, that's what, it's a salty run back when you play exactly the same drafts, you do exactly the same bans. I wouldn't be surprised then if we see K-Corp winning because they had such strength in the early game. They were so far ahead, and so far, through the 6 bans, through the first 3 picks, we have exactly the same drafts as game 1.
Maybe I would have liked to see Markoon on something different other than the Udyr. I know the Udyr goes really well with... That's the adaptation. That's beautiful. Honestly, I'm pretty sure Udyr is going to get banned away, so we're going to see Markoon on something different. And that is the adaptation I wanted to see, because you don't get to give it away to the Hecarim. And Hatrixx has been so good onto that Orianna, making sure that your backline stays safe and providing gates that they didn't have before now with the Shockwave. So that's great stuff. We're not running back. We're running back for K-Corp, though. Yeah, because it worked.
Exactly the same comp, and it did work very well for them last time. Expect to see that top lane counter pick as the final pick here for K-Corp, and we'll get into the second phase of bans. K-Corp here, last time they removed the Sylas and the Akali. Now they don't need to remove mid laners, of course, because the Orianna's already been picked. So instead, they'll ban away the Udyr, as you said, and maybe even take away something like the Nidalee from Markoon. It's the only other champion he's played through the EU Masters.
Yeah, he's really good at playing Volibear as well. Yep. I've seen him on the NLC. With that, you can create a lot of situations, because Udyr is pretty much a very selfish jungler. You want to go around your jungle and just farm, and just pop up with your camp tank and just take someone down. But Volibear is like much more vocal in the early game. So if you give that opportunity to Markoon, he's actually gonna take it. And let's not forget that both of these teams probably got aces up their sleeves that they haven't brought out yet. We haven't seen Markoon on something like the Xin Zhao, and it's been popping the EU Masters.
Very true, very true. Xin Zhao also popping in solo queue at the moment. I've watched tons of MSI players play the Xin Zhao and absolutely destroy on it, so we'll see if that is picked. But instead,
never mind.
It's banned away, Trouble. So obviously K-Corp on the same wavelength as you. Twisted Fate was taken away by BTXL, getting rid of some of Saken's roaming power. Alongside the Ryze, 2 of the strongest champions are getting into those side lanes and pressuring around that level 6.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of the Victor instead.
Ooh.
Okay, so what does Orome have in mind? Because the Camille right here would pose the question, like, what do you want to play with it on the side lane? What do you want to put mid lane for K-Corp? Because you already eliminated the Twisted Fate. Something like the Galio could go mid to complement the side lanes as well. But banning out the Camille, I'm thinking that Orome here wants to get his blade out.
You think he's gonna crack out the Aurelia?
The Aatrox is not banned.
You think the Aatrox is coming out? Okay, Aatrox for Orome would be quite strong. There's the Volibear that you talked about. BTXL looking for that for Markoon in the jungle. And of course, the Corki locked in for K-Corp means that once again, it's the top lane counter pick for Adam. We've seen a lot of weight being put on this very young player's shoulders to try and carry in the side lane.
And it's honestly really refreshing to see a new player coming in, and it's like, it's all up to you, mate. We're gonna give you everything. You carry us to victory, because it's not just about himself. He's not a selfish top laner. He translates it into the map, and right now you need it. You have an Aphelios that's scaling. You've got a Corki that's scaling. You need a lane that gets going, and that lane is gonna be Adam.
And for the moment, wow. Trouble, you have predicted a huge amount of this draft. I want to give you some credit here, because I know you've watched a lot of BTXL, you cast the NLC, but it's not very often that at red 4, you're able to predict the next 2 picks, and you managed to do that. So the Volibear and the Aatrox coming in here for BTXL, and K-Corp looking for that final pick. Where is Adam gonna go? What are his options? Well, he's played Olaf, he's played Cho'Gath, he's played Gnar. The Olaf is the hover right now, and it will get locked in.
The only thing that can't stop you from getting to the backline if you're melee is an ultimate that will not allow any CC to land on you.
True.
So if you have the chance to do that, usually this is where the Kai'Sa is used as a counterpick to Olaf because you can evade him, but the Jinx has to stay there. Luckily, Advienne is back on the same pick onto the TahmKench, so it's gonna be on who snowballs the top lane faster. Because as you can see, you've got Resident Sleeper bot lanes, they both want to sit there, they both want to farm, great. See Resident Sleeper mid lanes, Orianna, Corki, it's the new Azir Corki meta, there you go. And then you have Hecarim, and then you have Volibear that wanna go at it, and then you have the 2 bruisers in the top lane that wanna go at it. So now we're gonna transition a little bit back to our top lane show. The LEC, the ex-LEC showdown versus the new rookie that wants to take the spot.
Orome with a lot of weight on his shoulders in this game. He has consistently carried BTXL through the rest of EU Masters. His Camille has been legendary, even getting himself a pentakill earlier on in the tournament. Adam, though, is the 19-year-old French wonder kid. Like, this guy is so good at just winning his lane 1v1, and when you team him up with a jungler like Cinkrof, who is willing to gank and who is willing to get himself leads as well, it can be a devastating combination.
So, I want to see Markoon start bot side.
Okay.
And try to get a pick towards the top side on Adam before the ultimate is available for the Olaf, but it's much easier to snowball your Aatrox as well. And for Cinkrof, obviously I want to see the opposite. I want to see keeping xMatty alive. I want to see all this vision down the bot lane. It's all about making sure that your right lane gets snowballed, but also these 2 junglers definitely do not want to meet each other. Volibear is quite strong. That's just the Hecarim early before the level 6. So Markoon wouldn't mind, but then the problem is that if you fall behind, you can never catch up back to the Hecarim. You're more of a ganking jungler on the Volibear than you are farming such as the Hecarim, because you just can't keep up with the speed. So this is why I'd like to see the 2 junglers starting the opposite sides, like we're seeing right now. I love this. I need Markoon towards the top side. Try to babysit Orome.
It's really the only lane he has to gank as well. You've got Valkyrie in the mid lane for the Corki to escape. You've got the Thresh Lantern for Targamas and xMatty. You've got Flay as well, which makes it very difficult for a Volibear ever to get in there. Markoon will work his way up towards the top side, going leashless here on his red buff, whereas Cinkrof is starting on the Razor Beaks, and the expectation is he will be working towards that bottom side Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, need to make sure that xMatty stays alive at all times. Giving that vision down the bot lane is very crucial. Again, it was between the 2 ADCs, so getting them into the late game as scar-free as possible is going to be pretty much the name of the game for both these teams where bot lane is concerned. Now, I'm wondering, because a lot of times when you see Markoon, I'm not seeing him moving towards his golem, so a lot of times when you see Markoon on more of a ganking jungler, he's gonna five-head the pathing. So what I'm thinking he's gonna do right here is buff to Gromp, grab his level 3, and run down top lane. Up top lane, rather.
It makes a lot of sense. Get to Adam before he gets towards that level 6. Get the ganks in before the Ragnarok is available. Adam already got a little bit of a push here in the top lane. Actually, he's going to push against him, I believe, because there's all those caster minions raining hell down on the melee. So Adam's going to get forced away here. Orome already level 2. And we'll see if Markoon wants to go up towards top early on. It is. There's the blue buff. There's the Grump. Trouble once again on point with Markoon's pathing. Having watched him for the better part of 4 months, kind of makes sense that you understand where this jungler from the NLC is going to go.
Honestly, it's been pretty spectacular seeing the change and the transition for Markoon between the NLC and the EU Masters. He used to be a much more selfish jungler, but that's because he wasn't also challenged as much as he is by these insane junglers that we have in the European Masters. So he had to change his style, but some things always stay the same, Medic.
I like the way he goes in, he checks Krugs, but he takes the long way round, because Adam, of course, will ward the river. Adam knows that he might be ganked early on, so he put that ward down in the river. Markoon has not been spotted on this path. The Orome going in, minion wave is stacked up. Here comes Markoon, immediately going to tank it. Adam did have to burn his flash to get away. Markoon will turn his eyes back down towards that Scuttle Crab.
And again, Volibear is gonna fall behind on the Hecarim. You see that Cinkrof is just done with his entire jungle clear except the wolves, making sure that he takes the Scuttle Crab as well. And now he has the chance to move into the bot jungle for Markoon because he sees the level 3. He sees Markoon top lane, which means that these jungles must be empty. And Cinkrof is gonna do Markoon a favor actually right here and clear them, getting them into level 2. But that does get the Hecarim ahead. Obviously, you see he's already level 4 to level 3 for Markoon. So yes, the Volibear is always gonna be playing catch up to the Hecarim, but it's what you can do with that engage. Targamas on the go already.
We always see Targamas do this. Like, all of the time, Targamas is teaming up with his jungler, teaming up for these ganks, and looking to try and get something on the board. And you can see Advienne and Deadly both reset. Advienne's got himself a cloth armor, Deadly's got himself a longsword and boots, whereas only xMatty's actually been back to base for the K-Corp bottom lane. He's got a cull, and we'll start to try and stack that up as quickly as possible. Markoon here, looking for a bit of an invade. Damage coming out from Hatrixx onto Saken. Deadly's worked his way into mid lane as well. So a lot of pressure being put down by BTXL, just looking to try and take away a Razorbeak. They secure it with the smite. Markoon getting a bit of assistance from the rest of his team.
That is honestly so weird to see Deadly moving out of his lane. They know how doomed you are if you don't try to help Volibear that early on. His falls are far behind of the Hecarim, but we might have our first 2v2. Nope, it's gonna be 3v2 because Targamas is there.
Markoon flashes, just dodges the hook, only just able to sidestep it. Hatrixx going forward here in a 1v1. Saken's gonna Valkyrie away, and Targamas and Cinkrof are in the right position at the right time. Cinkrof looking for the chase back. Hatrixx able to get underneath the tower. Cinkrof, shielded up. Hatrixx survives. Both junglers going so low. Adam trying to get the fight here in the top lane. The Infernal Chain's not going to pull them back. TP coming in from Saken as Orome will be able to dash away for the moment. Still has the flash as well. And that's a summoner burnt for the KC mid laner.
Oh my God.
What are you guys doing? Why do you keep fighting? Orome going in. Adam, of course, has no flash. Markoon coming in from the bottom side as well, and Adam's done. Saken has the flash, has the Valkyrie to get underneath his tower. BTXL strike first in game 2.
It's all about the top lane. It was always gonna be all about the top lane. You've got Aatrox and you have Olaf. Whoever snowballs first gets to dictate the pace of how that lane goes. And Orome right here raises the card of, I've got more teammates than you, mate, and I've got to pull them in. So they're pulling in Hatrixx. We mentioned how Hatrixx was unable to move from his lane in the previous game, and now he's doing a wonderful job at helping Orome get ahead.
TP's away, gets the first kill of the game. Sorcerer's shoes complete for him. Cinkrof smites away the Razorbeaks once again. Hatrixx trying to trade in here. Markoon on his way. Cinkrof down to about 200 HP. Of course, doesn't have the flash, only has the ghost, but he has the lantern to get himself to safety. Now the bot side Scuttle Crab started, and it's skirmishes all around the rift right now. Adams worked his way down from the top lane. The smite comes out. I believe it was secured by BTXL. Now Markoon has to try and run for the wins because the zap comes out. Markoon goes back in for the stun. Targamas secures the kill. It's a 5v3 on the bottom side of the map, and Advienne is next on the menu. Instead, he flashes, manages to survive. Flash hook lands onto Deadly, but actually burns the cleanse and the devour there to get out of dodge. Adam now with the Ragnarok available is looking to Ragnar-roll his way to a couple more kills. Advienne gets an undertow to the back. Doesn't really have anywhere to go here. Dragon started up by Karmine Corp. They'll get it. Orome all this time farming in the top lane.
What's the exhaust?
Doesn't have the TP. Exhaust available. Advienne puts it down onto xMatty. Ragnarok under the tower, and that's 2 quick kills to Adam. Great dive from Karmine Corp.
Very, very well played right there by Karmine Corp. xMatty gets insta-exhausted. He's like, it's fine. I'll be the dummy here that takes all the tower shots, and Adam gets to clean up house. Now Orome gets to ping his team and be like, guys, what is going on? I left this guy 0-1 and you returned him to my lane 2-1. We mentioned how it's gonna be blow for blow on the top lane, and Adam's like, cool, if I can't get kill stop, I'll look elsewhere on the map.
Orome will be able to get himself a plate in the top lane, but Adam worked his way down from top very, very early to make this play happen. You can see Deadly and Advienne, really nothing they can do here.
Yeah, you gotta exhaust the key member right here, which is xMatty with the right guns. But Adam is level 6, he can just run from the tower. They knew that, that's why they couldn't exhaust him. That was the best play possible for BTXL, but Karmine Corp was even better. And right now, Adam gets to go top lane with an item advantage.
He's managed to get himself up towards, what I assume will be the Stride Breaker on the Olaf. Could, of course, go Gore Drinker on Olaf for that little bit of extra healing. But the gap closer feels pretty powerful in the top lane. 700 gold lead once again for Karmine Corp in the early game, and importantly, they have put Deadly behind on this Jinx. About a 10 CS lead for xMatty. He's got 2 extra assists, he's got the Noon Quiver, he's even got a Cull stacking up in his advantage over the XL bot laner. So that gold lead is only going to expand further as this game goes on. Cinkrof once again looking for the mid lane. Adam there as well. Onslaught of Shadow's going to fear Hatrixx the wrong way, but Markoon is the one that they are looking for. A little bit of a shield from the lightning there for Markoon, and he'll be able to walk his way out. An ultimate burn from Cinkrof. Nothing expended from the XL mid jungle duo.
I'm loving what Adam is doing right here, all over the map. This is the K-Corp special. If you get your wave frozen, you roam. If you get to push the wave first, you roam. K-Corp likes to roam, full stop. And this is where Adam has managed to find his 2 kills and these items in his inventory from. So keep on putting the pressure onto BTXL, and now BTXL are pressure to try and answer with that. Because Orome is sitting up the top lane, pushing the wave, but Markoon replies really well here with the backtimers. With Adam not having enough mana, he's going to grab the Rift Herald. I'm expecting to go towards the top lane, try to get Orome even further ahead.
We'd almost take down the tower right now. There's only 3 plates left on that top lane turret. Of course, we have a few minutes before those plates fall off, so BTXL can take a little bit of time.
Oh, that's even better. That is even better. The BTXL bot lane, give it to Deadly.
That makes a lot of sense. Adam doesn't have TP here. And BTXL will know in just a moment that he has backed away. They're going to shove the wave underneath the tower. Markoon can just chuck down the Rift Herald. Deadly opens up with that little minigun and should be able to take this pretty easily. Hopefully, actually for Deadly, he's able to get all of this extra gold from the Rift Herald charging. 160 in his back pocket. He'll get another 80 as the final bit of the tower goes down, actually, alongside the first turret gold, which I forgot about there for a moment. I was like, oh, it's just the final plate. Gets the first turret gold as well, and actually gives a little bit of a gold lead over to BTXL.
BTXL are ahead of the tempo right here. They swap their bot lane first in the top lane, they grab extra gold onto Deadly because he fell behind into the laning phase. Then bot lane, the xMatty, he keeps freezing the wave. That means Orome can stick up to the top lane and protect his ADC while this is going on, and move whenever the wave chooses to move down there. And now the top lane is absolutely free. That means you have to be aware of Orome and where this Aatrox is at all times. If you're Karmine Corp, and in a minute and 25 seconds, the new dragon comes up, and Orome is sticking around for that one. They might be looking for a fight down bot.
And once again, it feels like both these teams realize who their key points of power are as the game goes on. These 2 UK AD carries. Of course, we saw Deadly pop off on the Jinx in game 1, but here, xMatty is being funneled gold. He's left alone in the bottom lane to freeze the wave, get as much gold as he can, and you can see how even the battle is between these 2 AD carries as well. They share exactly the same damage share for their teams. Damage per minute, negligible difference there. CS per minute, negligible difference. And now BTXL are trying to funnel more gold into their AD carry. Targamas has to flash away. Orome on the chase. Infernal Chains will pull back the Thresh, and the Super Mega Death Rocket connects. Targamas falls. Orome takes it. Hatrixx and Saken trading in the mid lane. Saken flashes forward. The Shockwave pulls him back, but still the kill goes over to the Karmine Corp mid laner. Deadly getting a couple of plates in the bottom lane. But what is happening on the rest of the map? Saken's pushing in, Adam's pushing in the top lane.
They're going blow for blow, but the only one losing right here is Orome, because he grabs a kill, but he's mixed up on so much experience and so much gold. The Olaf up top on Adam, he's been pushing the wave the entire time. He's been freezing. A lot of minions have been dying. He's taking solo experience and solo gold. He's managing to get his own plates, and Saken replies with a kill down the mid lane. Now they're chasing him.
Saken doesn't have flash. Stormbringer used from Markoon. Saken looks at the Valkyrie, tries to get across the wall, but in the end, Hatrixx gets the kill. Cinkrof trying to come in from the side as well, has popped the Ghost. Will just be able to stampede his way away. Adam pops the Ragnarok to get away from the Infernal Chains. No world ender for Orome means the chase might not be on. Flash for Flash, an option! But instead, Orome flashes first and secures the 1v1 kill.
Smack down the stamp of who is the person that holds the reins up the top lane. And it is Orome at this point. He's been roaming around the map. He has gotten the lead in CS. He has gotten the upper hand onto Adam, and he's going to assert his dominance with that 1v1 as well. Although on the other side of the map, due to this going on, due to the backtimers from BTXL, they're gonna lose their second dragon of the game. But they don't care, because if this Aatrox becomes an absolute monster, he can take whoever they want on a side lane, and they can win as a unit as full.
Real question is, will BTXL be able to bring that Aatrox down to the next fight, to the successive fights that will happen around this Ocean Soul? Because it is an Ocean Soul on the Rift this game, and those are so important, especially when you have things like an Aatrox, like a Jinx, who can just heal up so much, even like an Olaf and a Aphelios. Oh, it's already disgusting. I'm just thinking about it right now. We'll see.
Oh, the underheal that has to be bought.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Everyone needs Grievous Wounds this game, and so far, no one has it, apart from those couple of Ignites in people's Summoner spell.
Actually, I'm surprised there's no Bramble Vest between the two top laners. It's usually like on your first back, you'll grab a Bramble Vest, especially if you're the one losing the matchup. I was expecting Adam to come back with a Bramble Vest, so strong against Orome. Then you have that extra defense versus the Jinx as well later on in the fights. So I was expecting something like this. No anti-heal coming in, but you know what's coming in? The Krakens have started coming in, which means a lot of the tanks that have not got any items yet are gonna suffer in the next 3 minutes and 40 seconds-ish when the next dragon comes up.
I'll put it like this, right? Which would you prefer? A massive mace, a weapon, or a little vest, you know? No. These Aatrox and Olaf, they run bare-chested into battle with their huge swords, and they're like, I'm gonna hit this against you, and Olaf obviously has an axe. And if you die quicker than I die, then I win the fight. That's how this top lane has been going. That's how Orome has controlled top lanes throughout the rest of EU Masters. That's how Adam has controlled top lanes through the rest of EU Masters. And you can see how close it is. There's 1 CS between these two guys. Yes, Adam has died twice more, but he's got 2 kills, and that is a glorious death. And on the Olaf, that makes a lot of sense for him. I do just want to wonder, actually, observers, can we switch over to the gold? Because I really want to know where these AD carries sit right now. Look at this.
Even.
Yeah, there's a 30 CS difference, though. And that's why I'm surprised. All of those extra plates that BTXL put into Deadly are really paying off, because otherwise, he would be miles behind xMatty.
And we saw what he can do when not only he's even, but when he's behind xMatty and he can carry the team. Imagine if he's even or even ahead. It's gonna be crazy. What we haven't mentioned yet is how these two compositions are exactly the same thing.
Okay.
They're the exact same thing. You've got your hyper carry, you've got your protective support, you've got your protective / mage mid laner, you've got the 2 engaging junglers, and at the top you've got their bruisers. But Adam's job is much easier with his ultimate to run past the entire front line of BTXL and chase down Deadly with the axes, rather than it is for Orome to try and find the perfect flank to get to Saken's Corki, to get to xMatty's Aphelios.
Cinkrof jumping in here onto Advienne, going to try and force him away. 2 minutes on the Dragon, but on that mid lane, dive in, the shockwave. Saken just dies before he can even react. Markoon flashing in there for the Sun, still has the Stormbringer if they want to continue this fight any longer. Targamas going to lantern in Adam. Cinkrof looking for the position down towards the bottom, but xMatty is not with the fight. It's a 5v3 in favor of BTXL right now. Orome's got a TP down towards the bottom lane, catches that wave. Meanwhile, the rest of BTXL still pushing in the mid wave, trying to gain prio over this bottom side of the map. Instead, now they will back away. About 500 gold between these two teams, and a minute and a half before the 3rd dragon of the game.
And just because the compositions are so similar with each other, it's whoever gets to pull the trigger first gets a kill. Everything gets piled onto someone and someone blows up and dies. And if you miss a link from the entire front to back chain, you can't teamfight each other anymore. So this is why you see that the second one person dies, whether it's from BTXL or Corp, they just pull back instantly, try to farm the waves, they keep on pushing. It's a rinse and repeat on who's gonna reach the item breakpoints first, who's gonna reach the late game first to try and carry. And again, even when we reach the late game, these two teams are so similar on how they fight that the only difference would be an Orome TP or an Adam TP flank.
Eyes will be on Orome and Adam as the game goes on. For now, though, eyes on those items. Kraken Slayer's complete for both the AD carries. Luden's Tempest finished for Hatrixx. Immortal Shieldbow on the side of Saken. Riftherald was started up here by Cinkrof, and with the Scuttler spawning in, Cinkrof will look to secure that first instead. Adam has the TP up if he wants to join a fight towards this top side, and Orome, of course, burnt his TP earlier to catch that bot side wave. But I have to feel both these teams will be eyeing up the Ocean Drake that's about to spawn. Riftherald gets a little pot shot and is like, hey, Hatrixx, don't like you very much today. TP now used by Adam to get into the mid lane, but Saken is not here. He's just reset. Will pick up the package, so can join pretty quickly. Mid lane tower will fall before he can get anywhere near the rest of his team. Hook onto Orome won't do too much. BTXL just back away. We'll look to gain vision control of this bot side river and over the Dragon. Cinkrof has a really good flank position here, though. However, Corp are split. Saken, watch that package. Does a deceptive amount of damage in DPS, damage over time, if he can get across the enemy team. Cinkrof and Saken have started up the Dragon. It's only the third, but it's still very important. Markoon trying to be that front line, already chunked out. Moonlight Vigil goes wide, 3,000 HP on the Dragon right now. Karmine Corp will be able just to keep it at arm's length. Cinkrof dived on, and it's stolen away. Markoon secures it, packaged down. Deadly, still alive somehow on the back line, but the Onslaught of Shadows will catch him out. So it does Hatrixx, and there's 2 quick kills to Karmine Corp. Orome goes into the World Ender and dives onto xMatty, but can't quite get enough damage down. Looking for the blast code to try and get himself out. The Infernal Chain's coming out as well. Adam doing what he can with the axes right now, and in the end, Orome will still go on a rampage. He gets another World Ender, times out. He jumps across the wall, but Saken dives forward, and the final machine gun shot from the Corki will get the shut down.
Woo! And we mentioned whoever managed to get to each other's backline and demolish them is the one that wins the fight. And Corp did exactly that. They found Deadly, they found Hatrixx, and they completely decimated them. They kept poking them down, forcing them into that tight choke point at the top of your screen. And yes, Markoon managed to get in and Orome, but then they leave the backline all alone. The 2 frontliners are away from their team, which gives Corp a massive amount of room to work with, find Deadly, find Hatrixx and decimate them. And yes, Orome might be a huge monster on the Aatrox, but unfortunately, at least yet for him, he cannot 1v4.
It's the reason those couple of early drakes were so important for Karmine Corp, because it pulled BTXL into taking this fight. However, over the next few minutes, we'll see how much Corp have been able to get out of these extra kills, because they no longer have that thread of soul hanging over the heads of BTXL. Look at the damage there. Basically nothing from anyone but Orome, and Hatrixx isn't going to do too much here either. Saken now on a killing spree on the Corki, teaming up with Cinkrof. And with the 20-minute barrier coming in, Corp are starting to take control of this game.
Yeah, that's great stuff right there for Cinkrof and Saken. Again, all around the map, trying to get the kills, trying to put the pressure onto the BTXL, and it has been blow to blow. Everyone moves into a side lane, they grab a kill, they completely translate this into the map, they get more vision, and getting vision means getting towers at this point. When you have so many vulnerable carries such as the Aphelios, the Corki, the Orianna, and the Jinx, you need to choke your opponents down on vision, so these carries cannot move forward to try and farm safely. So that is key number 1. Saken has done that. Key number 2 would be the mid lane tower, of course, that completely deprives you off of that, and it also cuts off the vision in the rivers. The river is going to be very important, because 2 minutes and 35 seconds, next round is going to come up. We know that it's going to be an Ocean Soul, so you definitely don't want to be giving Soul Point to Karmine Corp.
It really feels like we're in the break between the bells right here. You know, they ring a bell at the start of a boxing round. It's like, okay, guys, you've got 2 minutes, 20 seconds, then we're ringing that bell, and you guys start slugging away at each other for the next 2 minutes again to see who secures the Ocean Drake. In terms of items, though, Orome has finished his second. Sterex is there for him. You can see the Lord Dominic's Regards on its way for Deadly. However, xMatty with the kill in that last team fight, his Runans already complete on the Aphelios. If he is given free time in a team fight, he will shred. Doesn't have the flash for this next fight, and BTXL are trying to accelerate the time between the bells right here by setting up around the Baron.
And the funny thing between these 2 teams is how easy it is for both of them to do Baron.
Yep.
They both shred Baron so hard. So if Corp commit and go for the Ocean Soul point, then BTXL can really quickly reply with the Baron, and vice versa. Karmine Corp can do the same thing. So establishing some vision up top shows the threat, most of all, of you, that you are willing to take the trade and go for the Baron.
And if you're Karmine Corp as well, I think there'd be a little bit of hesitancy in your mind. Like, I'm not going to say they are definitely being more hesitant than they were in Game 1, but it was about this point in Game 1 when they had a lead, when they were ahead, that they overstepped, that they overchased, and they started to give BTXL a way back into the game. And once again, they're in a lead. We are 22 minutes in. They are 1 dragon away from Soul Point. They have a 2,000 gold lead. Their mid laner is incredibly fed, has a Mura mana complete. Their AD carry is really fed. Their top laner is pretty even in terms of pure outright damage in a fight. So all it takes is a single mistake, though, from Karmine Corp for Deadly to really get online once again.
And honestly, I have to put my finger on Hatrixx here, because even if Karmine Corp played this flawlessly, Deadly has missed his past 2 shockwaves in very crucial fights. And I know it's the obvious thing. Look at the shockwave. Is the shockwave going to hit how many people? Is it going to reach the backline? So many questions, but it needs to hit for Deadly to stay safe. Because if it doesn't, and they manage to find Deadly again, this is your win condition for BTXL. And so far, Karmine have done such a much more stellar job at keeping the carry safe.
TP coming in from Hatrixx. Targamas gonna land the hook. Shockwave is available. Targamas flashes away. Markoon dives in. The Shockwave still down. It hits 2. Saken gonna Valkyrie his way out. Markoon uses the Stormbringer to try and survive, but he's already down. Look at the damage from xMatty. Hatrixx down to 200 HP, and now Saken able to free hit with those rockets. Eats himself some honey fruit to get himself back above half HP. The Ocean Drake has spawned. Orome stepping forward once again. Cinkrof trying to get in there. Doesn't have the Onslaught of Shadows. What have we got summoners-wise? Maddie has a flash. Saken has a flash. Deadly has a flash. Hatrixx has a flash. Orome does have his as well. Basically all summoners up for everyone who is still left alive in this fight. xMatty stepping forward. Orome going in. xMatty looking to try and get out. Orome, look at the shields. Look at the heals. The Super Mega Death Rocket finds its mark as well. And xMatty, Saken, and Adam have to run away. They've lost their jungler. Advienne down to so low. Orome flashing in. Can't quite get it. The Ragnarok enough to keep Adam alive, but the Ocean Drake will go over to BTXL.
It was all a fake, but yet still Hatrixx is in danger here. It was all a fake from Orome. He tried to keep away Karmine from that dragon, while Deadly and Advienne were absolutely dispatching of it. And we mentioned whoever gets the go button first manages to get a kill. But Karmine are playing dangerous here because they know all of BTXL are on the bot side. There's no teleports available. 15 seconds for Orome. This is a free Baron.
It's a great call from Karmine just to go straight for the Baron. They don't even have their jungle over here, and they're going to be able to secure it in time. Baron is slain in exchange for an Ocean Drake. Karmine Corp, 3,000 gold ahead, now have the ability to push in some of these lanes with those Baroned up minions.
And if we see, honestly, this fight again, first person that pulls the trigger right here is going to be Markoon on that Volibear. He sees Targamas overextended. Thresh is a pseudo tank. He can't withstand too much of that damage. He's only there to protect the backline. That gives them the first kill. And then Orome plays a huge part here because, as you can see, the carries from Keiko cannot move forward because Orome is cutting the road to the backline of BTXL. But from there on out, you see that it's much easier for Keiko to play this game because Hatrixx is so low. Hatrixx needs to get close to get his ball into play, to do that damage, but they hadn't thought of Deadly in the backline, or Orome diving in, playing the front line, which when Markoon is dead, and from there on out, it was a clear out game. Deadly gives the call, guys, listen, I'm a Drake, keep them busy, take someone down if you can. He can, but he did keep them busy long enough. But due to that play, them having to go and grab that dragon, them sacrificing their time, Karmine got the back timers and the Baron.
Now let's see what they can do with that Baron. About 1,500 gold from it so far. That's the amount you get for taking the Baron, so you want to try and get that up towards the 2-3k mark to really utilize your Baron properly. Now they've got down one tower in the mid lane. Orome trying to trade with Cinkrof down towards the bottom side of this mid lane push. One cannon minion there for Karmine Corp. Next wave is actually a long way away. As this cannon minion falls, you can see Karmine Corp have a good 10 seconds to wait here. There's a ping on the top lane, but they don't have TPs. So really, they need to be all 5 together. As the Shockwave hits Cinkrof, he uses the Onslaught of Shadows to get to the Lantern. Super Mega Death Rocket just a hair's width wide as Cinkrof is able to escape. And that's 2 ultimates used in trying to take down the enemy jungler. Hatrixx is stunned up here underneath the tower, gets away from the hook just about. Orome now stepping in, trying to distract Karmine Corp from his backline, and the tower does still stand in the mid lane.
Yeah, when your guy with the gold button gets caught on the side lane, unfortunately you can't dive, and you have so much poke to utilize from this Corki. Look at that, even Markoon is melting from this rocket. Cinkrof is back for vengeance, but he meets sort of the same reply right here. Orome is just waiting for him on the side lane.
Karmine Corp actually sending xMatty away from this fight to try and catch that wave in the top lane. They know Saken as an AD carry, as a Corki, has enough damage to chip away at those towers. With the Essence Reaver now complete, he will absolutely shred through any objective that stands in his way. And speaking of objectives, it's a minute 39 on that bell. A minute 39 before the boxing gloves go on, and both these teams square up at the Dragon once again.
And honestly here, you have to see what is going on with the summoners, because Adam is finding his way to the backline. Matties are ignoring OCC with his ultimate, but Orome is having a hard time. Even if he flashes onto xMatty, then he has the lantern, he has his own flash, he has his heal. He'll find a way to get out scar-free, whilst Orome is really trying hard to get the backline. He just can't reach, because both Corki and xMatty are keeping him into arm's length. And Adam is always finding his way back together with Cinkrof, and it's much easier to get onto Hatrixx, to get onto Deadly. So we mentioned how important is the trigger, but again, I'm gonna put my finger onto Hatrixx. This shockwave, it has to be massive, because if it's not, you're going to lose the fight. You're down in gold, you're down in items, so if it doesn't hit, you're pretty much screwed.
Abyssal Voyage used to in the bottom lane. Do they know that Cinkrof is there? Adam pops the Ragnarok, Markoon on the chase. There's a Blast Cone available, but Ragnarok, I believe, will mean if you pop that Blast Cone when it's up, you can't get away. But here's the Onslaught of the Shadows. The TP come in from Corp. They're willing to take this fight. Saken over the wall is going to do so much damage, but immediately they jump on him and stun him. Saken gets away into the pit. Deadly trying to get away from the package damage there as that red carpet has been laid down. Deadly has to flash across the wall. Orome getting chased off by xMatty, and Adam tries to get to the Blast Cone but can't quite get out. Deadly's fallen, and Corp are wiping this one up. Hatrixx knocked across the wall, straight into the waiting arms of Adam. Cinkrof down on low HP, but all xMatty needs is to get into range of the enemy mid laner. Markoon try to trade onto Targamas. He should win that one. A jungler versus support. I'm going to give that one to the Volibear. Targamas now trying to chase onto Hatrixx himself. Hatrixx will just limp away to the mid lane, but here's the TP. Saken will not let Hatrixx get away. In fact, it's Adam who TPs in. Saken's still dead, and Hatrixx able to dodge around vision well enough to survive. The dragon goes over to Corp, and they are on Ocean Soul Point.
That was a chase, a mouse around the maze, because that was literally what the jungle was right there for both teams. It was a maze, it was all about who's gonna get the better flank, and Saken honestly came in clutch on that fight. TP's right behind the entirety of BTXL, and he has the passive very crucially, breaks them down in half. Deadly cannot move forward, and he cannot move backwards, and Advienne walks into the packaging, is completely burned. And look at that play from Saken, jumps through, dodges Markoon on the Volibear, takes down Deadly. If Deadly dies, BTXL loses the fight, and Saken knew that. They got the numbers advantage, and they translated that into a dragon as well. Very, very, very well played for Corp. They thrive in chaos.
You see, Zero, Lala's Twitch chat will be saying, but that's TahmKench. You don't expect him to do too much damage in these fights. You can see the damage, though, that Saken put out. 5,500 just from him alone. Compare that to Hatrixx, whose Shockwave really didn't find the mark once again. Baron up, though, in 6 seconds' time. Orome here, a level down on Adam, who has got towards that level 3 Ragnarok. Cinkrof is the one stepping forward, going to knock Orome back. Deadly not with his team right now. Orome's going to heal up just a little bit. Infernal Chains go down, but Cinkrof is able to dodge out of them. Adam cleaning up a control ward where he can. The Baron still very much on the menu for either of these teams if they can get there. 5,000 gold lead for Karmine Corp. It's basically a mirror image of game 1. Once again, they are in the lead. Once again, it is their game to control. They have the mid lane pushed in. Cinkrof has the Onslaught of Shadows available, and in he goes. Deadly gobbled up with the Devour, spat out. Advienne, the only one knocked back there. The root's going to land from the Flame Chompers. Cinkrof is a little bit too far forward. Infernal Chain's coming down as well. It's going to pull him back. Deadly has the Super Mega Death Rocket. There's the Shockwave. There's the Rocket. Only hits on one, but already Cinkrof is dead. Saken, though, still very healthy. So is xMatty. And because of that, BTXL cannot keep the ball rolling, cannot keep stepping forward. One kill over to the NLC representatives, but Corp are able to hold on to the push and the mid prior.
Yeah, Cinkrof was a little bit too overzealous right there with his engage. His team couldn't follow up. BTXL had the flank, but then again, one kill is fine for Corp to give away. Yes, it stops a little bit of the progress that they've made. Yes, it stops them from wanting to push for that Baron, but the initial play was made so they can catch BTXL off guard, so they can go for that Baron, so they can have the numbers advantage. We mentioned how these two teams do the exact same thing. You take a link out, these teams cannot fight 4v5, no matter which one is here. And Corp know that. BTXL came back from a 10,000 gold deficit in the previous game, another only 5,000. 4.5 in the lead is just not enough yet for you to try and pull out those 4v5s.
I will say as well, I'm very surprised by the fact that BTXL have decided against any Grievous Wounds on their team. I was looking down their inventories, and you can see, like, look at Corp. Bramble Vest, Executioner's Calling. Look at BTXL. There's not a single Grievous Wounds anywhere in any of those inventories, and you've got an Olaf, a Hecarim, a Corki with Immortal Shield Bow, and an Aphelios that you're playing into. So the healing that will come out from Karmine Corp can turn a fight, and we'll see if BTXL perhaps pay for their itemization mistakes as the Baron is started. Karmine Corp looking to up the tempo of the game once again. Crescendum, Severum available for xMatty. BTXL able to force them off the Baron for now. It's totally reset, but Saken's trying to open up with those missiles from the side. Mid lane pushed up by Deadly. xMatty clears the control ward. Adam walks past one, stride breakers forward, has the lantern but stunned. That's the Ragnarok used by Adam, so he won't be able to get onto the backline too easily next time if a fight begins. And BTXL going to start it up once again. The control ward is there. Cinkrof out of vision. They do not know exactly where the Hecarim is as of yet. Baron down to 6,000. Adams back in the fray. Here comes Cinkrof. Onslaught of Shadows used. Stunned up. The hook lands onto Markoon, and that's the jungler down. And now Cinkrof, look at the healing he gets out of this fight. Orome's going to try and turn it back around as Adam goes down. Shut down here for Hatrixx. Still has the shockwave. 1-for-1 exchange. Jungler for top laner. BTXL cannot turn back towards the Baron. 30 seconds on the Ocean Soul for Karmine Corp and 28 seconds on Markoon. There is a 10-second window for Markoon to get towards that Ocean Drake.
And one link broken here. BTXL are being desperate. They have no vision whatsoever from wherever Corp could choose to come from. Markoon gets caught instantly, which means they cannot proceed with the Baron, so their only chance is to try to turn around the fight, turn this into a 4v4. One link broken, both teams completely leave the fight. You do not want to fight unless you're 5v5.
I love this from BTXL though. Advienne staying in base with the Abyssal Voyage to make sure that Markoon is here on spawn for the Drake. That is really smart from BTXL, because otherwise their jungler would not have been here in time. He would have had to sprint it down. And now Karmine Corp going to TP in.
What's Orome?
Adam joins the fray. They know Orome's down towards the bottom side. Adam goes in with the stride breaker. Orome still in a good position, but there's a ward on him. The damage from Crescendum and from Saken is chipping away at Orome. The shockwave only lands onto Adam. He's got to Ragnarok and try and get his way onto the back line. That's the Shockwave Flash combination used, and the Ocean Soul still very much on the menu for Karmine Corp. Adam healing up bit by bit. Markoon down to about 1,000 HP. Orome looking for the flank position here. No ward in that bush anymore. Scuttle Crab comes up and Deadly takes a chunk. Adam dives into the back line and already he's going to go down, but Markoon's dead as well. Orome trying to get onto the back himself. Saken doing what he can. Orome flashes forward. Saken surviving the Immortal Shield Bow enough. xMatty doing what he can to get rid of the damage onto BTXL. The Dragon goes down and Karmine Corp. Hatrixx flashes in. 2 for 2 so far, but the Ocean Soul is on Karmine Corp, and Hatrixx has nowhere to go. Gonna get knocked back straight into the waiting arms of xMatty. He almost gets him, but in the end, the shutdown goes over to Cinkrof, and Karmine Corp win out the fight.
And honestly, again, what a play from Saken. They figure out where Orome is. We said, what's the flank? What's the shockwave? Orome and Hatrixx are the two key members, and they both miss the mark. They avoid the shockwave, and Saken takes care of Orome, chunks him down so much that he can't take the flank wherever he wants. Saken has been the top lane destroyer for both the series yesterday, taking care of Driddy, and now with Orome as well. Very, very well played for Karmine Corp. They take care of the front line, they take care of the back line. Orome has nowhere to go but to try and chase Saken, but the Immortal Shield Bow coming in clutch together with Cinkrof trying to keep his mid laner alive. They take the Dragon as well. From there on out, you've got the soul. You're good. You're good to take this fight. Hatrixx, yes, he goes in for the shutdown, but then he ends up dying too.
Yeah, it's Karmine Corp able to use the fact they got those 3 early dragons to up the tempo of this game once again. Saken with almost 8,000 damage in that fight. xMatty topping the charts at 6k as well. Baron is on the menu here for Karmine Corp, and with an Ocean Soul and no grievous wounds still on the side of BTXL.
He's looking at you, xMatty. I mean, Deadly.
I'm looking at Deadly, I'm looking at Orome, I'm looking at all of them, I'll be honest. It's a bit of an oversight, in my opinion. The BTXL have decided to forego grievous wounds, although some people say, well, the healing is too much for you anyway. They should have it right now, and they do not. And because of that, Karmine Corp are able to take bad trades and still heal up through some of these fights. BTXL now have to step into An area of low vision. Markoon once again on the front line. 2 levels down on Cinkrof. Has the Stormbringer to try and get into the pit, but it's down to about 4,946 HP. There goes the Stormbringer. There goes the Shockwave. And there goes one. xMatty's already dead. Advienne and Deadly trying to survive on the back line. Hatrixx has gone down as well. Deadly able to keep himself alive right now, and Saken's next on the menu. The rocket follows him downtown. A double kill for Deadly. They're looking for more. They want to kill off Cinkrof if they can, because then the Baron is so much easier for them. But even with the red buff, they can't get in range. Cinkrof able to stay alive, and perhaps because of that, BTXL will be a little bit tentative about starting up the Baron, but they've begun it. The control ward's going to get cleared out. Advienne's going to see that Cinkrof is here. Now, Cinkrof doesn't have the Onslaught of Shadows.
He doesn't have a flash, definitely.
Doesn't have a flash. The Blast Gun's going to get used by Orome, Advienne, and Deadly. Tanking up the Baron right now. Cinkrof has the smite. Orome has to keep Cinkrof at arm's length for as long as possible. 3,000 HP on the Baron, and it will be secured. BTXL once again, somehow from behind, find a fight that works, and because of it, they get the Baron.
And it was Orome, and it was Hatrixx that turned this fight around. Look at that shockwave! Level 16 Orianna decimates Karmine Corp, and Orome, again, the bodyguard between K-Corp and his own backline. Doesn't allow anyone to go through and touch Deadly, and that was the cherry on top for Deadly right there with the double kill. And they also managed to keep Cinkrof away with another great zoning from Orome coming into this game, and another Baron. And I'm gonna say it again, I said it the previous game, and I'm gonna say it here. BTXL have no business winning these fights.
Oh, you talked about it at the start of the series of Jinx priority, and right now it seems to be just that. You can see Cinkrof is forced down at half HP from just a few Jinx rockets, and even without the healing reduction that I've been calling for, they are still just shredding through. Orome now has the GA, so if he's ever diving onto the backline and is caught out, he will be able to come back and survive. And it really feels like this Jinx is just the linchpin of the BTXL composition, and it is working so well for Deadly right now. In his second ever EU Masters Finals, last time out, he did not win. He lost with Vodafone Giants. But this time, he is looking to go one better to get that first spot. K-Corp against a Baron buff for the next couple of minutes will have to be on the defensive. xMatty catches the mid wave, but there's 2 cannon minions in this wave. Orome has the TP to join the fight if he needs to. And once again, we see it's BTXL in the late game on the front foot. Karmine Corp have to find some way to defend against this, have to try and get a dive, or have to try and find a fight, perhaps around this Elder Drake that's coming up in just a minute's time. BTXL got the bot lane super minions pushing in now, and will reset before the Elder Dragon.
And that is going to be huge, because they got a big influx of gold, getting that inhibitor and getting that inhibitor tower and pushing in the waves over and over again. You will see a lot of items. There is. Oh. See, that Baron was the catalyst for the anti-heal.
Look at what Hatrixx is doing. So Karmine Corp will assume that all of BTXL have reset.
Oh, that's scary for Hatrixx, though.
Yeah, it's so scary for Hatrixx. He is in a flank position here. He's now going to blast cone over and joins the rest of his team. TP used by Saken into the bottom lane. BTXL have total vision control of this area, I believe. I don't think Karmine Corp have had a ward in here for the last 30 seconds or so. 15 seconds on the Elder Drake. Karmine Corp trying to push down mid.
And the problem is that Karmine Corp don't have anyone that can face check. The Hecarim gets chucked down the second he sees the Jinx. Adam had to blow his ultimate so many times, and BTXL are the first in this river. Again, Shockwave or Orome flank are going to be crucial for BTXL to win this fight.
Ring the bell, because the boxing gloves are well and truly on. The fight has begun. Cinkrof looking for the flank position. Immediately dives onto Hatrixx, and there's the package in from Saken as well. But Advienne trying to keep his AD carry and his mid laner alive. Deadly trying to survive, takes down Adam. Orome catching out 3 members of Karmine Corp by himself, keeping them at arm's length. Markoon diving in, trying to chase off Cinkrof, but Cinkrof knows this Elder could be life or death for Karmine Corp in this game, if not in this series. Orome down to about 500 HP. The missiles barraging in as BTXL are forced lower and lower. They are not the team with the soul. However, Karmine Corp are a player down. Adam back up in 35 seconds. Will have the TP. Super minions pushing in that bot wave though. And you can see the TP coming in as well from Hatrixx. He wants to join this fight. Hatrixx still has the shockwave. It's actually Orome, sorry, who joined with that TP. Cinkrof caught the super minions, cleared them out. Deadly started up the Elder Drake. Here comes Cinkrof. Doesn't have Ghost, doesn't have the Onslaught of Shadows, but can just run into the pit. Elder Drake down to about 500 HP and is secured. Markoon takes it, and now immediately Karmine Corp say, well, we're gonna flash the hell out of this one. xMatty and Saken dive away. Super Mega Deathstroke, it doesn't connect. Elder Drake secured for BTXL. Super minions pushing in. BTXL will reset. And at the 42.5-minute mark, the gold is tied.
That is so important because in the next 3 minutes that they're gonna have Elder buff on them, the Baron is gonna have spawned, and BTXL want that. When they got the first one, they got bot lane inhibitor tower, bot lane inhibitor. Now with all these items, they're gonna be able to take the entire base with the next Baron buff. They're gonna have Baron and they're gonna have some of Elder buff left, which means that this means opening up the entire base of Karmine Corp.
Take a breath, take a moment. We have a minute left before the Baron comes up. Both these teams fighting tooth and nail for the right to call themselves the EU Masters Champion. The NLC has never done it. The LFL have done it twice. Spring 2020, Spring 2019, Misfits Premier and LDLC claiming the title for their region. And we all know how much it means for Karmine Corp. We've all seen their meteoric growth in 2021. But right now, BTXL stand in their way. They are stymieing them. They are stopping them. And no matter what Karmine Corp do in the early game, it's BTXL that come back swinging, that come back fighting, and now are coming back and taking the mid lane inhibitor tower. Inhibitor next on the menu. You can't fight against Elder. It's just so difficult. You can poke, you can chip, you can pry. But right now, all Deadly needs is a couple of rockets and you just go down. If that Super Mega Death will get a hit, Saken may have just fallen. Of course, the Ocean Drake helping, the Ocean Soul helping Karmine Corp so much in sustaining through these fights. But now BTXL will back away. Baron back up. The next objective, the next boxing ring for punches to be thrown. BTXL may just start it up straight away. Keep it. Keep the tempo ticking, keep the clock ticking over, keep Karmine Corp on the back foot.
You cannot fight here if you're Karmine Corp. The Elder buff is still up onto the BTXL members. You have to take the L, unfortunately, here and give up the Baron. This is such a rough spot for Karmine Corp because we said this composition thrives at chaos. The Olaf running on one side, the packets from Saken on the other. Fighting into this choke point is beautiful for them. And now, unfortunately for them, they're going to be forced inside their own base, which is completely open, which means Deadly is going to get a free reign over the map, which is so great for BTXL's composition. And Karmine Corp, if they want to win this game, they're going to have to find the flank on these few towers that remain on the top side. They're going to have to find their way through the jungle and get on the backline of BTXL.
Importantly for Karmine Corp, their bot lane inhibitor has respawned. They only have one wave of super minions pushing in. You can see they gain priority on that. They shove it out while BTXL are all grouped up towards the top side. Markoon stepping forward, trying to make sure that no one was lying in wait for the rest of his team. Orome, the bodyguard, the bouncer as we call him, keeping Karmine Corp at arm's length, keeping them away from the rest of his squad. And now one last inhibitor tower remains between BTXL and perhaps a victory. Deadly caught out, Adam diving in. Onslaught of Shadows going out, but Deadly's already dead. You can see Saken did so much work in this fight, and now it's all on Hatrixx, but he's gone down as well, and Karmine Corp, they found the fight, the shot down for Orome. He's going to try and dive back in onto xMatty, but it's a double for the Aphelios. Orome, will the GA be enough to save him? I do not think so. Karmine Corp struck. They found Deadly out of position, and they sent him to an early grave.
And it had to be the last stand on this specific tower. We mentioned it. You do not stand a chance if you're inside your own base. They took it and they run away with it. Cinkrof with an absolutely beautiful engage, finding Deadly. If Deadly dies, BTXL loses. They know what's at stake here, and they take a really advantageous fight for K-Corp.
And with that fight, they're going to shove out mid-wave. There's super minions on their Nexus towers, I believe, but look at this. This is just Deadly oversteps. Like, Adam gets an undertow on him, and immediately it's go, 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 go.
And that was so great, because Advienne has to devour him way before any engage goes on. He just gets chucked down, being left in the front lane, and Deadly missteps there. It gets instantly punished by everyone piling up. And yes, Orome is a beast on that Aatrox, but again, you cannot 1v4. Very crucially, though, he does lose his Guardian Angel, which is not going to be available for next fight. And next fight is most likely going to decide who takes this game.
What are we fighting for next? Well, Baron is down, Elder Drake is down, 47 minutes in. Yeah, they'll be up soon enough. They'll be up soon enough. Full items on both the AD carriers. I will note some Grievous Wounds finished for BTXL now. They've got the Chem Tank Swordy Sword of Chainy Swords. Can't remember the exact name, I'll be honest. It's the healthy Chemtech one.
It's the healthy Chemtech.
Yeah,
very important. K-Corp can fight back into their own territory. We mentioned the jungle, we mentioned the package, we mentioned how much easier it is for Olaf to navigate through that and fight a flank, and that is their territory. The small points where they can find the flanks, where they can find the packages. The same goes for BTXL though. Orome onto that Aatrox, always finding the flank. Without Targamas.
Targamas has flash, has burnt it already. Gives you a little bit less safety from that Thresh now. The flash lantern not available. Saken takes a chunk with the zap. Deadly stepping forward. Orome on that front line as well. The crescendo onto Hatrixx does so much work. Onslaught of Shadows available here for Cinkrof, and BTXL wants to try and step forward first. Adam now has a GA of his own.
The choke point!
But look at where Cinkrof is. All Cinkrof has to do is get onto Deadly. The flash forward from Adam. Hatrixx is dead before he can even shockwave. And now Deadly, the only one that has to be killed here by Karmine Corp, and they've done it! They found the fight in the mid lane they were looking for. Adam flashes in, and it's a clean ace for Karmine Corp.
So beautiful. We mentioned how important the shockwave is for the side of BTXL, and they're like, well, we don't have to worry about the shockwave if the holder does not exist. They take the engage. Whoever presses their buttons first here, Medic, gets the win. And on this particular fight, it is Karmine Corp. So well played by them.
Karmine Corp landed the knockout blow. They will take us to Game 3 as they equalize the series versus XL.
We have an intruder.
What a performance from Karmine. Like, I'll be honest, they had the early lead, and then I saw XL getting back into it. I saw XL get the Elder. I saw them get the Baron. I was like, is it going to happen again? Karmine Corp with this great early lead, faltering at the final hurdle, but this time they were able to find that engage and were able to manage to get those team fights they really needed to pull out the win.
Honestly, you see how close in skill these two teams are, because they both make mistakes, but they're tiny mistakes. And then the other team will just grab it and run away with that win. We know that BTXL likes to overextend. We know that they like to force some fights, and that fight was very forced. They tried to catch the Thresh, and they paid for it. And honestly, drafts don't matter from now on. It seems like no matter what happens in the draft, these guys are all down to execution. Like, even if you give them a draft that can't win in the late game, like game number 1, Karmine Corp will try to find the way around it and make it work. So I'm just very excited, because it seems like whatever they seem to be drafting, it's all working, and it's all coming down to that one tiny step forward.
2 games, we've played for like 80 minutes. It has been epic so far, and at 1 apiece, we might be going all the way. Make sure you join us after this quick break when we come back for Game 3.
So calling your phone 'cause I can't get enough. And I got work in the morning, early in the morning. But who needs sleep when we're loving it up? Oh, and what I gotta do this the hard way. My body wants to be in arms, baby. Something I regret in the morning. But I just can't resist when you're calling. I got a bed, but I'd rather be yours tonight. I got a bed, but I'd rather be yours. That's what I say when I call you on the phone tonight. I got a bed, but I'd rather be yours. Lights, camera, action. Lights, camera, action.
Welcome back to the EU Masters. I hope you're enjoying these finals as much as we are. And Monsieur, quick reactions about this game?
Ooh la la! France is here to play, huh? K-Corp turned the game around. It felt like they were outscaled. It felt like BTXL had the winning team fights towards the late stages of the game, but K-Corp bounced back.
It's just execution based towards what we see towards the end here. Like, whatever happened in the early game, at this point, it honestly doesn't matter. It feels like it always goes to these 7 Drakes, multiple Barons, Elder Drakes to come through. And I gotta say, for me, a hero of that game had to be Saken. What a man on that Corki to keep K-Corp alive, where it looks so dire for them.
Yeah, most definitely. There's so much to break down in this game, especially because so much went on. You know, Orome getting the solo kill top onto Adam, shutting him down. But then Adam also, earlier on in this game, playing towards bot side, diving bot. And then, like Gulbot said, I think this game kind of came down to team fights. There was 6 dragons taken, which is already 30 minutes of dragon control, which leads to more fights. But this was the one fight that K-Corp was able to turn the game around, stop the siege from BTXL, deny the Baron push. And when I saw this fight, I thought K-Corp was just diving into BTXL head on. But it felt like BTXL were kind of not ready for it, and they got caught off guard. Both their carries died. And from here, K-Corp were able to kind of regain control of the game. They were the inhibitor down, they lost Baron, they lost Drake. But this kind of fight made it so it was much more even.
Yeah, and I want to take it back to what you're saying, like unprepared, multiple members dying with Flash up. You can see Hatrixx here again. Flash still up, they're not ready for the fast-paced gameplay that K-Corp all of a sudden are just bringing to the game. They start off very slow towards each other, just trying to fight for priority, and out of nowhere, it just snaps, and a fight has started.
64,000 damage from Saken on Corki, and I mean, Matty's right behind him on 50k. You can see the amount of damage coming out in these fights.
His first Corki game as well. He hasn't played this champion all year. He just decided, you know what, I'm gonna bring this out in the European Masters final.
Yeah, unreal. This series, only 2 games, but it's all coming down to the game of inches in team fights.
Yeah, and it feels like both teams showed up ready today. So let's roll back a bit here and talk about the early game, because it was all about throwing punches all over the map.
Yeah, definitely. All about throwing punches. And it started on the top side of the map when Orome did force onto Adam, I believe, once he gets his lead. And it all came down to this play as well, because 1 TP is coming in, and then you'll see a TP matched from Hatrixx, and then a TP matched again from Adam and a TP from Orome. So 4 TPs are used in the top side in around 30 seconds. And I thought here Hatrixx wasn't going to get anything.
That's the thing we talked about in the green room as well. This looks so brief. What is that? With Orome ready with the movement speed he gets from Hatrixx, the flash there to catch onto Adam, who doesn't have flash, from an earlier in exchange that also happened in the top lane. There is so much early action throughout this game, and I just feel like my heart was beating throughout this whole series, because it starts in the early games, it continues in the mid game, and it doesn't slow down in the late game. Like every fight around a neutral objective, it was a huge team fight. It was never just, let's give it up.
Yeah, and Adam lost on the top side of the map, unfortunately. They didn't get the top side 3v3 that they wanted, but Adam kind of pushed out top early on in this prey, ran through mid to help with the Drake fight, but he's already on bot, and Orome is kind of fast pushing top here because he sees Adam on the bot play, but Adam actually picks up 2 kills, and then you can see how the cross map comes in the early stages of the game. K-Corp start playing for bot side, BTXL start playing for top side, and then you have the Titans in the team fights where it's almost like Saken and xMatty against Orome.
What did it come down to in the end? Because we saw that the more the game was going, especially in game 1, the more comfortable BTXL was feeling, especially with this comp. It feels like it was a bit more, a bit similar here. The Drake fights, though, we talked about them, and it feels like they tripped a bit.
It's the Drake's fight, and it really tripped for when you say K-Corp in the beginning. But I gotta highlight every time it's Saken that it's coming from. Whenever there's a good play going on for K-Corp, it's Saken who started it. He's fearless, diving in with the package, and he's so fit. We just saw the post-game damage beforehand, 64k. There's a reason for that. But if you want to build heroes, you gotta talk about Orome as well. His Aatrox performance for sure kept them alive around these objectives.
Yeah, talked about this in game 1 actually. He was playing Ornn, just not willing to play against Adam. Here he played Aatrox, and that's the type of carry we want to see him on.
Yeah, I liked it. They banned away Camille on the 4-5 to prevent the counter pick onto the Aatrox. They blind pick the Aatrox. Adam responds in the Olaf. It's a carry versus carry matchup, and definitely Orome was the player to highlight on BTXL. He was the one who kept them alive in these fights, doing so much work in the backline, showing the experience that this player has. And I mean, I think everyone's excited about this series. Everyone's pumped. It's so close. It's almost like on a knife's edge. It's so incredible to watch these two teams just duke it out.
It was not enough for BTXL in the end, and I feel like I saw Karmine Corp play enough in the LFL to know that, especially at the beginning of the split, when they were getting messy situations, they were thriving through the chaos they created. And it feels like here, I mean, they give me those kind of vibes.
Yeah, it's a bit dangerous to play with fire, though. I think there's a fine line in chaos between success and failure, which can flip with flip a second in the blink of an eye, right? So you can see K-Corp with the early game leads, but one mistake can turn the game around against late game comp. And then again in this game, they were playing for bot side, BTXL playing for top side, almost like both games even. And then it came down to the team fights. But the man behind us, Saken, was the person to highlight. Ahead, I believe he got almost like a solo kill onto Hatrixx on the level 6, level 7. And then from there, you saw the damage he did, right? 60,000 damage on Corki. This man basically carried his team alongside xMatty to win the fights.
Yeah, and it's just flashback to his Rise performance yesterday. He was popping off winning that game against UCAM, and this time around on the Corki, finding those crucial moments when they're coming into those team fights where BTXL got no time for reaction, when they still have their summoners up. Once again, it's Saken who's finding these fights, and he's just been facilitated by his members. What we usually see K-Corp do is that they'll have Saken facilitate the side lanes, where his roams are going to be what matters. But towards this late game, it was not about Matty. He was still there for the backline, extra damage, and he did a lot of damage, but it was Saken all the way who was the highlight player.
It is 1-1 now in this series, which means the next one is going to be crucial for the team who brings it to match point. Let's look at the draft to maybe predict what's going to happen in the next one, because you talked about the Corki pick that you didn't like so much. We know that BTXL chose red here for game 3. They're going to have the last pick, which is good for them. What can we expect?
Yeah, I think small adaptations coming out from XL. Maybe you'll see Hatrixx on things like the Galio because they can get counter pick on top, so they should be able to play harder towards Orome, which is how they found success. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of mid on 3, ban out 2, and get a last pick for Orome, which K-Corp have been doing something very similar. I think this draft behind us, very good adaptations from BTXL, where they don't want to trade off drafts and have a losing early game again. We'll give you Hecarim, but we're going to take away Orianna and then deny the TF, so the early game's a lot more stable for them. But I want to see a counter pick top and maybe more of a roaming style for Hatrixx.
Yeah, and to me as well, this Jinx has been a pivotal pick for K-Corp in the past. Not so much this series around. We have had heavy BTXL priority onto this, but one thing is for sure, we go to late games in this series, and we need a decent AD carry to play for in that backline. Jinx with that long range made it so hard for K-Corp to play the mid game to late game team fights, and had it not been for Saken, that we've already highlighted so many times, it would have been very, very doomed.
Yeah, and I think there's loads of resources in the league. You can see K-Corp's ahead in gold, but when it comes to late game, the scaling, that's when the numbers start coming in for BTXL. The range is a resource. You know, the team fight prowess, the AoE spells, you've got Orianna, Shockwaves, Jinx, Rockets. There's lots to care out for. So BTXL, despite falling down in gold, their drafts have helped them in terms of other resources around the game.
Two different styles here clashing on the Rift. I'm so excited to see the rest of this series. Honestly,
I bet.
K-Corp even out this series here. Let's see who can take it to match point after the break.
9:05 in the evening, I'm all up in my feelings. So call your phone 'cause I can't get enough.